Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. This is the Guardians, the beta for patch 2.2, the latest update to arrive in the game. What you're looking at there is the Beluga Liner, very nice sleek looking ship, although quite removed from the original concept art Frontier once showed. Here you can see we can fit a whole variety of internal modules. These are optional modules and they come with a whole lot of different types of cabin classes. We can see economy class, first class, business class, as well as luxury class. Now, the class of cabin you use determines the type of passenger you can take. The higher the class of cabin you have, the more rewarding missions you can actually take. But you can't fit some of these cabins, like the luxury one, to any old ship. You do need a cruiser ship to be able to do that. And the Beluga is quite expensive. It cost 8 million credits in beta, which is 10% of the final cost, so it's likely to cost around about 80 million on the final server, and some of these cabins are going to be quite expensive too, as you can see. At the bottom of the outfitting screen here, you can see the jump range for this ship, and it's quite a bit under 20 light years. So for a cruiser, it's very slow, but then it was never meant to be an exploration vessel. It's simply a cruiser. But some people will be wanting to go to the center of the galaxy with this, which represents quite a significant distance, and indeed some of the missions actually want you to go to the core itself, and perhaps some cases well beyond. I've gone for the Imperial fighter ship this time. We've tried out the others in the previous videos, so hopefully we're going to get interdicted on these missions and we can try out defending our passengers with the fighter, hence the title The Guardians. So this mission here, you can see, has quite a high payment on it, but it's also some quite strict requirements as well. Before I take that, let's just move on and take a look at what other missions are here. Most of them I don't have the requirements actually met, and the reason for that, for the most part, is because I haven't outfitted the correct cabin type. Some of these will want economy or first class cabins, and I've only fitted business class and luxury class. Now, back at Gamescom, Frontier did talk about VIP passengers and that these would be a whole different type of mission set. I haven't actually seen any of those yet, but from what I understand, those were to be in a totally different menu area. But then again, maybe they are not in the beta just yet. I'll keep an eye out and keep you updated. I'll make another video on them when and if I come across them. You saw one of the missions there was to go to the core. That was paying 10 million. This one is to go to what it calls the view. Now, I guess there is a player-submitted view here, but I'm not going to go to that. Over 1,000 light years is a little bit far for what I actually want to do in today's video, and the Beluga is going to take a lot of time to cover that sort of distance. So I'm going to take these missions here. You can see those passengers don't want to go in the business cabins. They can only go in these cabins. So that's 4 passengers out of 6 spaces, and we'd also take these ones as well. That's 17 passengers, and these ones should quite happily go in the other cabins there. So 2 missions then. Let's get off and get on with it. Another look at the profile of the Beluga ship. Quite sleek and quite nice. Very, very large ship. Not as slow to move as some of the larger ships. It's significantly more maneuverable, for example, than the Type 9. But all in all, still pretty slow, and probably not powerful enough to defend itself, hence the need and reliance upon fighters. Now, here's something interesting. As I went into jump, you can see the message telling me the security state of the system we're heading to. And as the ship goes into the countdown cycle, you can see it automatically align itself with the jump corridor. That's something new, as is this hyperspace effect. It actually reminds me quite a bit of the one back during the premium beta days. And at the end of the hyperspace conduit, you can see the star. And the sound effects for hyperspace actually go silent just before you emerge. Listen. So a few changes there, some subtle, some not so subtle. And here we are at the planet where I've got to deliver the passengers. Unfortunately, I wasn't interdicted en route, but as I got closer to the destination here, the server cropped up with a message saying that the server was going to restart. So hurrying along, I wanted to get to the docking platform as quickly as I could Tried to race the timer, not paying attention to that this was actually a 1.3G planet and I was coming in far too hot. Hit the ground, lost the shield, lost 50% of my hull and received a mission critical update. The passengers here didn't want to receive any hull damage. They'd given me a warning telling me that they're going to leave if I take any more hull damage, and of course as I touch down here I'm taking more hull damage all along. So ultimately I failed the mission on that particular one, but fortunately the business class passengers really don't care. They're quite happy with me delivering them, so one mission failed and one mission successful. So I can hand this mission in then, or at least a successful one, and give up I guess on the failed one. But first I had to log out and then come back in again when the server had restarted. So there we are, 17 business passengers delivered, a small prize, nothing too great, but I guess it all adds up. So the flavour of these is very similar to delivery missions as many people suspected, but there are other types of passengers, all of them with different requirements, all of them having a slight twist on the mission itself. So I did go and take some more missions here. I was hoping to get one that would get us interdicted. I did want to try out the fighter whilst on a mission. Once again, this was some business passengers. You can see there's quite a lot of them. Now these have mission critical updates that tell you that there's a rival corporation after them, or a rival corporation has sent an assassin or someone like that after them to interfere with their trip. And finally I got interdicted by one of those would-be assailants. So rather than fighting the interdiction, I did submit to it with the plan to immediately launch the fighter, piloted by myself of course, leaving the Beluga in the capable hands of my crew member. Now one thing I did notice is that the transition here takes so long that if your ship is being attacked, you can take some quite heavy damage by the time your ship finally gets launched. And you can see that is quite a delay. I love the speed at which the ship gets launched though. And let's turn around and see where that guy is. I set the Beluga to defensive mode, which hopefully means it will keep out of the fray of combat, and then I turned my attention to try and locate where that ship was. But you can see it jumped away. So I guess the tiny little fighter here was too much for him to handle and he ran off scared. So simply turning around, heading back to the Beluga in order to dock so I could carry on my way to the mission. So the Beluga had kept nicely out the way. What is nice is that when you request docking permission, the ship will orientate itself to help you best approach. You can see that there, facing backwards to me so that I can get under there. Now the speed controls are very sensitive here, and you may have some trouble both accelerating and de-accelerating to relative speeds to allow you to dock. But if you're quite good with the fine controls, you shouldn't really have a problem at all. At any rate, straight back into Super Cruise again and getting closer to the station. But before much longer, I was interdicted yet again by, you guessed it, the same assailant as just now. Now maybe I got it wrong and this person isn't actually after attacking me and he simply wants to just view what's going on here. After all, the communication from him at the top says that his employer is very interested in the passengers that I'm carrying. Maybe this time then we'd get involved in a bit of combat, hopefully deployed long before he turns his guns on the passenger ship. Now you can imagine how this will work with trade vessels as well when you're interdicted by would-be pirates. At least now you've got a way of defending yourself, but it depends just how quick they get onto your ship. Getting a little bit close to the Beluga there, and again once again put it into defensive mode. But look, there he goes again. No idea what's up with him or what his plan is. So, heading back to the Beluga once again. Bit of a strange mission, maybe not working quite how it's intended to work. After all, there's no scan, there's no mission critical update when he arrives, so not causing any problems simply by his presence. Here I am then at the station, about to deliver the passengers, when guess who turns up? Yes, there he is yet again. Giving me the same message as previously, I was wondering whether or not he was actually going to open fire at me in the no-fire zone of this station. I've had pirates and other mission people do that before, and it really doesn't go well for them. But the final message he gives there would imply that the passengers I'm carrying are not actually the ones here as after, which seems all rather strange to say the least. But nevertheless, it did make that rather simple courier mission quite interesting. So that is a bit of an overview of just how these passenger missions work. I will of course take a closer look at the other passenger types. I want to do some of the tourist missions. They do require quite some extensive travel, and I certainly won't be going to the core during beta. Hopefully as well we can get a hold of some of those VIP passengers, if indeed they actually exist. Those are the ones that'll probably be more interesting than the rest. But as you can see, with the Beluga ship at least, you can carry a whole lot of passengers. Whilst the rewards aren't that good for these missions, you've got to remember that I am still neutral with all these factions, and if you can get to friendly or allied, then the rewards for the missions is going to increase significantly. So next up then, I'm going to head back out into space and see what new and interesting sights there are out there. For it seems there's a whole lot of new things introduced, including some things of mystery, as well as some biological entities. No one, as far as I know, has come across them yet, but it can't be too long until the first person to do so actually turns up. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.